Shannon McFarland joins me. We're here in DevNet space. One of my favorite interviews because he's just very good at speaking to what he does, which means I have less to do, which I'm always looking for. Shannon, it's always good to see you.
Great to see you, buddy.
Absolutely, another year, and it feels like we're only picking up speed. And I feel like DevNet has been in continual evolution in a good way. And I wonder if you could highlight what's most important to understand about what's changed with DevNet right now?
Well, we've stuck to our base of programmability and automation. That's always the cornerstone of what we're focused on here within DevNet. But with all the Gen AI hotness and model context protocol, all of those things, we've got to make sure that we're carrying forward our community members, which are a massive group of community members, and we need to bring them along with all of these new technology advances. And so for us, it is constant iteration of what we're doing here in the DevNet zone, but also with developer.cisco.com, which is really where most of our community members interact with us.
Well, there's certainly been no shortage of talk about developers and with AI and vibe coding and different things going on as everybody's kind of reassessing, well, what's my role in this going forward? What are the conversations you're hearing in that regard, and how does DevNet help in that area?
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, I think we've got two extremes and we're trying to get people into the middle of those extremes, right? You got some folks that have an extreme view of my job's going away and these chatbots and these intelligent IDEs are going to take over the developer or the operational role. And then the other side of it is my organization's not touching AI or won't let me touch it, and so I have nothing to do with it. So we're actually trying to drag them along towards the middle here where we can actually give them the facts around what is doable now. So model context protocol is probably the most important thing we're talking about right now, and just getting them to enable their day job with AI utilizing tools like MCP. And so that's kind of a point where we're actually dragging kind of the audience more towards the middle instead of those extremes.
You mentioned MCP, obviously model context protocol, which I don't think is considered a standard. It's just something we've all kind of rallied around, and there's just, what do they call that, de facto? Not de facto. Either way, it's something that's coming about towards something like that. It doesn't do everything, but it certainly has enabled both good and dangerous things to happen. And it's been so much fun to play with. Here, are you guys focusing in those areas in terms of how that works with network architecture? Because the challenge with network architecture, I feel like when it comes to AI, is that we have to make these changes, but we're playing at a different level of stakes than say an endpoint or some of the other parts of the market that we connect are doing. And so it feels like we have, and we're trained to feel like we have less room for error. How does that actually manifest itself here? And maybe walk us through a little bit of the sessions that have been attended.
Yeah, so this is the continuum of the DevNet zone has certainly been one of those ones where we have been slowly gluing AI to the existing operational frameworks that our customers already have. So MCP is one of those things there. It is basically the gateway drug, if you will, for AI when people can't fully enable all of their AI functionality inside their organization. And so a lot of the sessions we have here are aimed at where do I look at my network or my security or my operations view today as it sits, and then how do I slowly introduce AI into that across Cisco's product sets and other open source product sets, and even things like GitHub, et cetera. And so that's really been our focus this week, is really gently introducing AI to those that are already in a really developer or operational role.
So it's very interesting because I feel like I kind of credit DevNet in my early days, as far as, I'm taking the courses you guys would roll out on just understanding APIs and kind of that connectivity, but there also felt like we were kind of bringing Cisco and some old world technology ways of looking at things that were very important for Cisco's evolution that have now come to where it's something different. And so you guys have obviously adjusted your role to be complementary in this particular environment. You're still heavily focused on education. And in scheduling wise, I think one reason we were talking today as opposed to maybe it was Thursday, you actually have a center stage session yourself, I believe, coming up. Do you mind giving us a little tease about what you're covering? What should we look for? Yeah,
so I'm co-presenting with Sujith Joseph, who is the lead architect for the Circuit application inside of Cisco. And so our view is around basically walking people through their automation journey of AI. And so my part of that conversation is if you're in an existing brownfield environment as a developer or as an admin, how do you gently introduce AI into your job to really accelerate the velocity? His part of that is really, if you're building something from scratch, what would that look like? And so we go through the circuit architecture for that session.
That's always fascinating. What, you mentioned automation and AI, and I feel like those are terms that to the, not to even the uninitiated, some very smart people I know would kind of conflate or confuse one for the other.
Right.
When in actuality, success in automation is not made easier by AI per se. It kind of feels that way because we're using AI to kind of draw across silos and do different things. But I think if we still don't address those underlying fundamentals, then it's going to catch up to us. It's going to bite us here. Have you seen a maturing of the understanding in the people that you're interacting with?
Absolutely. I mean, if you go back a calendar year in this exact venue, the number of people that would raise their hands to most AI-oriented discussions would be very, very low. Now, it's the majority of people that are sitting in these sessions have a basic understanding of the tools, of the standards, and of the needs, and how it applies to their particular role. They're here now to basically go after the deployment side versus just raw education. And so we've absolutely seen a massive increase in the skill set and the awareness of what AI means to their day job.
I hope this question makes sense, but as a final question, I'm curious, how do you recommend we engage with DevNet? If someone's not familiar with you guys, or maybe have preconceived notions for whatever reason, what do you recommend today, and how are people getting started and getting value out of the relationship?
Yeah, so our anchor location is developer.cisco.com. That is the starting point for anybody that is really going to go after anything that we've got, whether they're consuming APIs. We just launched this week, we just launched an MCP and AI agent catalog. We call it the AI Hub. And so they can go to developer.cisco.com right there at the header, click on that link, and it's going to have the model context protocols that Cisco is producing. So Thousand Eyes, WebEx, et cetera. So it's a great location for them to go and find that, and we're going to be producing many more of those, and so people can start at that.
It's so funny. That's one of those questions where I'm like, should I ask this? And then oh yeah, I'm glad I did. That's awesome. And I didn't get your title from the beginning because I made fun of the fact I can never remember what OSPO stands for, but give me your title and then explain OSPO.
That's great. So I'm the Vice President of Cisco DevNet, Developer Relations, and also Cisco OSPO, which is the Open Source Program Office. And so we basically govern any contributions by any Cisco employees to any open source project, and that's the role that we've got there.
That is awesome.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you
Great
so much, Shannon.
you, buddy.
I appreciate your time. I think we're going back to studio at this point.